there. Have you ever faced the effects of a betrayer? Perhaps you've been betrayed many times. My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is the betrayal. How do you forgive someone when they betray you and you didn't betray them? It's funny how often we as individuals can sometimes think to ourselves, I would never do this to you. How could you do this to me? And it's like, well, we are all different people. We've all had different traumas. We've all had different sufferings. We've all had different challenges. And it does create different personality matrix of beings. You know, it's like we're all a little bit different. And so although it can sometimes be difficult to understand, Heather often does not understand humans. I often do not understand them. I'm in this really graceful period in my life where when I became 5 decades deep and turned 50, it's like all of a sudden I've been in this graceful space of non-attachment. I'm not attached to what anyone does. I really trust that other people are living their lives and pray that they're living their best lives for themselves. And I'm not attached to what people do, how they behave, how they respond. I have a lot of places I need to put my attention right now. Definitely my attention is warranted. And that's garnering my focus and my awareness. And so it's this age has been an age more for me of just absolute radical acceptance. I don't really have a lot of attachment to what others are doing. And I'm not even reaching anymore to grab anything from the universe. I just kind of take whatever comes in. But I find myself in a similar place I've been before. After I got divorced, I was very non-committal. I've always been more of a monogamous romantic in a lot of different ways in this life. But I've had periods where I've been just wild and free and, you know, and not into monogamy as much. And I'm finding I'm in this similar space where it's like, I don't really have my hand to offer anyone right now. I have other things that I'm focusing on. And as I've considered previous relationships, there's no relationship I've been in that's really a match to what I seek. Both parties taking complete responsibility for themselves. Both parties giving the liberty and the freedom to create space if a disagreement is happening. You know, if you're arguing and you just keep arguing, you're probably going to just keep arguing. You know, take space, calm down, come back at it at a different angle. You know, like being loving, being romantic, being devoted, there's so many things that it's taken me 5 decades to realize that I actually seek in relationship, and integrity and honor and honesty and communication and being liberated and free to not be judged no matter what you say. You know, like all of those things I've been seeking, I have not created, and I take responsibility as a creative principle. And there is this piece where many relationships I've been in, I've been betrayed. You know, it's like they've slept around and I didn't. Not to say Heather Feather's never done that. I've spoken on these videos before that my marriage ended because I had an affair. And it's the worst thing I've ever done to a human. And it's part of what created this really monogamous frequency in me and caused me to be really reticent to commit again. You know, it's like, oh, hold on, let me make sure this is what I want to commit to. Let me really get my eyes on you. But as I've been in this space of feeling very non-committal and disinterested in relationship right now, I was thinking about when I got divorced. I was very like, we can have sex, but nobody owns me. I am not a possession. You cannot claim me. You can, you know, there's no, like, you're not going to have my heart or my hand. We can have sex and that's it. And there was a woman during this period after I got divorced that I slept with, and I let her know all of this. Like, I'm going through divorce. I am super non-committal, and I'm just going to be with whoever I want to be with. So if you want to sleep with me, you can, but it's not a commitment. And we did. We had sex. And then sometime after that, I wound up sleeping around with somebody else, you know, because I was being wild and exploring and sowing my wild oats as many do in their youth. And while I was doing that, what I came to realize many, many years later, I thought that she and I had remained friends. So for over a decade, she would contact me and we would interact and I would hear about her life. And I really thought she was my friend. We both studied A Course in Miracles. She's, you know, this really interesting, neat woman. She does cool things and she's beautiful. Just our timing coming together was not one in which I was in a space to offer a relationship. And those were just the breaks. That's the cards we were handed at that time. And around a decade, 10 to 15 years after that had occurred, us sleeping with each other, my life coach in a program I had been in had died. And I was going down to LA or past LA. She lived in LA, my ex, to see to go to the funeral of my life coach. Beautiful woman named Nikki, an amazing life coach, a major life changer of mine. And this woman that I had slept with, that I considered my friend, kept trying to convince me to take a hallucinatory drug. She said, "Let's take acid. Let's have you take acid." And I was like, "No, I'm trying to go to a funeral tomorrow. Blah blah blah." And she was like, "Oh, you got to meet my friend. She's a high priestess. She's super magical. Let's go to her house. You'll love her." And then she starts talking to me. And this woman was a very magical high priestess woman that had put a lot of magical intent into some acid that this woman I had slept with has been my wife in all of the lifetimes. And they ultimately both convinced me to take it. And I took it and had this experience in which she was my beloved. She was the 𝐬𝐻𝐾. She was the one I was meant to be with, the love of my life, my wife of all the lifetimes. And I could see us. I could see everything that had been planted in this drug for me to receive on a consciousness level of us having eternal union. And I, of course, missed the funeral of my beloved life coach, which was tragic because she's an amazing human and I could never regain that moment. Choices matter. The choices you make matter. And as I was doing in the experience afterwards, I was like, none of that is true in my, I know this woman is not my wife of all the lifetimes. Like I've never had that karmic intensity with her, or that, that it's like, I'm very spiritual, I'm very psychic. I would know that bond if it were true. And my soul, in all the time I've known her, has never known that to be the truth of our bond. And so I asked the Akashic Records about it because I had a sense that the high priestess she had me go visit had messed with the acid and had put intention and done magic to it to cause me to feel like I screwed up and lost the love of my life. And sure enough, Akashic Records said that's exactly what happened. And I had been betrayed. Not only had I been betrayed because she did this act against my consciousness, manipulating my consciousness, but I had been betrayed because she had befriended me for a decade plus just to betray me, and had talked to me about A Course in Miracles and had talked to me about spiritual texts that are around forgiveness and around all these pieces. And it hurt. It hurt. I've had moments many years later where it still is like, ow. And although it does hurt Heather Feather to some degree, it hurts my ego a bit to be like, why is it so easy for you to not have heard what I said? I told you I'm not available. I meant it. when I say something, I mean it. You know what I mean? I'm not talking just to talk, But the real reason it hurts me is because I do love her. She is my friend, whether she was being friendly to me or not. She has been a lover to me, and she is a beautiful soul, and I want better for her than this. I don't want her soul to have to face the karma of this. When I have experiences like that, I usually tell the spirit realm, I tell God, I tell the allies, I tell the angels, they are forgiven by me. And I only pray for grace for them when they get to the other side, that it be easy if they have to witness an experience, because I believe what we do, the life review, is us from a broader perspective, a less judgmental perspective, reviewing the choices we made and the ripple effect they had and how they influenced others. So when you've been betrayed, how do you forgive that person? Well, a healthy person does not betray you. A healthy person doesn't lie to you. A healthy person doesn't cheat on you. Somebody that has a healthy attachment style and healthy personality matrix understands not to give their word unless they're going to honor it, understands the consequences of their actions. And so it can be easy to judge and vilify and attack someone that stands in an unhealthy place. But the question I often ask myself is, do I want to grace when I stand in an unhealthy place? Have I ever felt like I'm not being my best self, or I'm not offering the best Heather? For sure that's happened. And I pray that others be graceful with me. So perhaps today is a good day to consider anyone in the river of your life that has betrayed you. Maybe now is a good time to extend to them the grace of forgiveness, because when people know better, they'll certainly do better. You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, like and comment there. Heather Feather always loves your thoughts. I'm Moon.